You know, there's this quiet story unfolding all across America, one that you almost never hear about in the headlines. It's about towns that are just slowly, piece by piece, vanishing from the map, and we're going to dig into why that's happening.
I want you to just picture this for a second. A place where the sounds you expect from a community, kids playing, cars driving by, have just faded away into silence. The houses are empty, the streets are dead still. And every single year, more people leave, knowing they're probably never coming back.
And this scene or something like it is playing out in so many different parts of the country. Which really begs the question, right? Why? What causes a whole community, a place that was once just buzzing with life, to pretty much just vanish? Let's find out.
Okay, so to really get what this town has become, we've got to go back. We need to remember what it was. We're going to listen for its fading echo and trace that journey from bustling, lively streets to the silence that's there today.
And wow, the difference is it's night and day. On one hand, you had this vibrant, thriving community, totally full of life. And on the other, you have the reality of what it is now, basically a ghost town. The change is just so dramatic.
See, this place wasn't just a collection of buildings. It was a home. You had families with roots going back generations. The local businesses, the bakery, the corner store, the diner, that was the heartbeat of the town. You'd see kids playing out in the streets. It was truly alive.
So that brings us right back to the central mystery. How does a place with so much history, so much life, just fall apart like that? What in the world happened here?
Well, the answer isn't some single big event. It was a slow collapse. So let's break down exactly how a town like this falls apart, one piece at a time.
Yeah, this wasn't some sudden catastrophe. It was more like a slow burn. And it all started with the one thing that holds any community together, really. It's jobs. That's when the economic foundation started to crack.
And to really get why the jobs disappeared, you have to understand this one key idea. This was what you'd call a single industry town. Its entire economy, its whole identity, was wrapped up in one single thing. Maybe it was a coal mine, a big factory, or a mill. And that dependence, well, it made the whole place incredibly vulnerable. And what happened next was like watching a line of dominoes fall. First, that main industry disappears. The factory moves overseas or the mine runs dry. Step 2, all the jobs go with it. Then, with no work, people have no choice but to start leaving. And finally, with no people and no money coming in, the town's entire economy just collapses. It's a predictable and just devastating chain reaction. And the consequences of that? They're just awful. With fewer people around, there's way less money to support local shops. So the grocery store closes, then the pharmacy, and every time a business shuts down, it just gives people one less reason to stay, which makes the whole cycle speed up. But what about the people who are still there? The ones who remain? Let's take a quick look at the present day, at what life is like among the ruins. Just try to wrap your head around this. For every 10 people who used to call this place home, maybe only one is still there today. The sheer scale of how many people left is just staggering. I mean, the town is basically on life support at this point. You see homes that aren't just empty, they're straight up abandoned, just left to rot. The schools, once full of kids, have closed their doors for good. The local hospital is barely hanging on, a shadow of what it used to be. All the basic services that make a community work, they're just gone.
In this quote, it really says it all. The people who are still here are often those who simply can't leave. That really gets to the human side of it, doesn't it? These are often the elderly, or folks without a lot of money, or people who are just so tied to the land they don't have the means to go start over somewhere else.
Now, it would be really easy to hear all this and think, well, that's just one sad story about one town. But this is so much bigger than that. It's time to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. This is a nationwide ghost story. So we've been focused on this one specific place, right? But here's the thing. Here's the part of this story that almost nobody talks about on a national level. Here it is, the most critical takeaway. This story of a slow, painful collapse, it's not just about one town. The reality is there are hundreds of places just like this one, quietly dying all across America. It's like a silent epidemic of disappearing communities. And think about this. It's happening at the exact same time we're hearing all these stories about how big cities are booming. But that's only one side of the coin. For every shiny, growing city, there are countless small towns being left behind, just fading away in the shadows. They're forgotten in the national conversation. They're ignored when it comes to economic investment. And as a result, they are slowly,
but surely disappearing.
So we're left with this one last, pretty heavy question. This isn't just about economics, it's about our memory, our identity, the very fabric of the country. When we just let these places fade away, what part of our own story are we leaving behind with them?